We have a massive power, and it's the power to say no.
2024 is the year when the pushback begins in earnest.
People ain't seen nothing yet. That's what I keep telling people.
It is a master-servant relationship where we, the governed, are the masters.
Doctors are gaslighting patients.
You press down enough on people for long enough, you leave them no choice but to rebel.
So, no, I don't want to forget about it, and I won't shut up about COVID.
The story of the unvaccinated is still yet to be told.
We are one people, one flag, one Australia.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the XCandidates. My name is Stephen Tripp, joined by two lovely people. First, Mr. Adam Zara. How are you going, Adam?
I'm pretty good, Stephen. How you going, mate?
We are in the new studio.
The new studio. Still working out the bugs, but we're going to get there.
It was one hell of a morning and afternoon.
All day. And last night. Oh my gosh.
Yes, very, very good. And we also have the wonderful Gemma Noiosi.
Oh, perfectly said.
Perfect. Wow.
So get it right, people.
I'm not very, that's one of my downfalls, saying names. I'm hopeless at names, but
do you know what it means in Italian?
I have no idea. Maybe goddess or
beautiful rose.
Oh, geez, no, it actually means boring.
Boring.
Yep.
Well, you'd be a good politician then.
Yeah, well, no one more boring than that.
All right. Well, let's kick things off the way we always do by letting everyone at home know about Buy Me a Coffee. It's just a way that people watching can support us, help us pay for lovely studios like this and all the different equipment that you have to buy these days. You can throw us a few dollars there, and also every time you donate, you give me that warm and fuzzy feeling inside, which actually is really nice. So,
and me too.
Yeah, and Adam as well. Also, you can head to the Tshirt Shop. And hold on, Adam, I'll take that down first. Show off your T-shirts, Adam. I got the Commanding the Narrative T-shirt on. Adam's got the XCandidates T-shirt on. Great XCandidates T-shirt on. Great quality, fantastic quality.
Perfect. They're really, really nice and thick. And I like the print too. The print's actually quite nice.
Yeah, it is really. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And mine's been through the dryer like twice now, so it hasn't flaked off or anything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's pretty good.
Awesome. So get your T-shirt there at xcandidates.tshirts.net.au. And lastly, now this is very exciting. We have a new website. It's a Commanding the Narrative website. So now I've already talked to Adam about this over the next few weeks or so. We'll be rebranding things as Commanding the Narrative. I've got to work on the font there. Someone told me about that. Doesn't work when you don't have full screen going. But we do have a website now. A lot of people tell us that it's hard to find our content on social media. It's shadow banned or whatever it might be. So now you can head to commandingthenarrative.com, and all our podcasts will be there. Articles that I might write or even Adam might write in the future, or maybe some people that will like, we can put up some articles there. All you need to do is head to the website, click that button up the top where it says sign up, and you'll get a weekly email if I've got enough time to do it with all the podcasts that we've done through the week, and maybe any articles or news or events or anything like that. So please head to the Commanding the Narrative website and sign up and keep up to date with everything that we are doing. But tonight,
sorry, I just got one question for you, Stephen. Should I now buy a Commanding the Narrative T-shirt?
No, you don't have to.
No. So I like being an ex-candidate.
Yeah, well, you can be an ex-candidate.
All right.
I like Commanding the Narrative. So.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's because you came up with the name.
Yes. Well, Gemma, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. I hear a lot of good things about you. I haven't met you. Adam has. Everyone that tells or talks to me about you tells me how fantastic you are.
No pressure.
And you might look sweet and innocent, but you're actually quite fiery, and you don't hold anything back. What got you into this whole game of politics?
That's an easy one. My children. Obviously, I've always been interested in politics my whole life, and I've always been pretty anti-government. But obviously, COVID really woke up that little beast inside me. Excuse me. So I, like everyone, had a hard 2021. I was actually pregnant to my second child. And the state of fear I was in that entire time, time of my pregnancy, I never want to feel like that again. And it wasn't fear of a virus; it was fear of my freedom, and the government taking my rights away from me. and away from everyone. And I think, the complacency that everyone around us had, and the compliance that everybody just happily gave into, like, a lot of our friends and family, a lot of us lost relationships with friends and family during that time. And I just decided that if I can sit at home and complain and whinge about what, the direction our country's going, or I can get my hands dirty and get involved.
One of the things I used to say during my campaign, I even say it now, is that the story of the unvaccinated hasn't been told yet.
No.
And the trauma that people that were unvaccinated had to go through. Do you think that's adequately been addressed?
No.
Gemma, I've got a quick question for you as well, just regarding your pregnancy. Was Anthony's your husband?
Yes.
Was Anthony able to witness the birth or go into the
so that's what I was worried about. So obviously my husband didn't get vaccinated either, and that's what I was fearful of, that he wouldn't be allowed to be present during the birth. But I did go through the private system, and I rang up the hospital, and funnily enough, the head of midwives there said that, no, don't worry about it. Obviously I'm paying money, so like, no, don't worry about it. And then she was telling me a story that her daughter had a reaction to one of the vaccines, and she admitted, like, what they're doing is it's a crime, especially to pregnant women, putting us in that position. And like, I thought I was going into birth early as well, and I had to go to the public hospital, Liverpool Public Hospital, and it was like I was in China.
Yeah,
they wouldn't even let me into the birthing ward, and I ended up going home. I said, well, I don't want to have the baby in the street. I'd rather have it at home if I have to. So we ended up going home, and luckily there were no issues. But just being treated by the public system that way, it just really opened my eyes. And I think what really put the nail in the coffin for me and my husband was he couldn't even say goodbye to his dying grandmother. We weren't allowed into the hospital to say goodbye, and it's still, we're never going to forget that.
I think that's one of the worst things, actually, as well. Like, that is no closure to the family, because the funerals were also limited as well. At that,
it wasn't at that point. It was just luckily that wasn't an issue there. But this was 2021, so they opened up at that point. But because we weren't like vaccinated, we were treated,
second class
citizens.
And the thing is too, the public health system, this health system, is you pay for it. We pay for it anyway.
Exactly. That's one thing that riles me up the most, is that nothing is free.
No, but look, we all have similar stories. My wife was pregnant with our first child during COVID, and same thing. I didn't get to see my grandmother when she died.
Oh, there you go.
You were told, keep away from grandma, otherwise you'll kill her. Well, unfortunately, she died anyway.
Yeah.
And we miss those moments, and even just special moments like going in and be able to see the ultrasound. I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, no, either was my husband. That's right. Yeah.
And I'm sure whether you are vaccinated or unvaccinated, people cop those stories. Everyone has those stories, and people might say, well, that's just a part of having to go through a pandemic, or like going through a war, you have to give up things, but it was predicated on so many lies and so many bad decisions by public, chief health medical officers. I mean, you look at these people and you say, why would I take any health advice?
They're just such a picture of health, these people.
They're just horrible looking people. And I know people will say that's offensive. Well, they put people through some real trauma. So I don't care. I'm going to say whatever I like about these people, because they look horrible. I would never take any health advice from them. And there should be some accountability for the things that they put people through. Like, they've put you in this political realm now. That's the hardest amount of trauma that you could.
Was it out of the lines, then into the snake pit?
That's it. They've got regrets now. They've woken up a lot of lions and lionesses.
They have to deal with people like us now.
Yeah. Well, they can keep dealing. That's
what really, I'll tell you what really pisses me off. I'm going to swear a bit, because what pisses me off about the pandemic is it's a pandemic that we never had to have. It was a man-made virus. It was leaked, intentionally or not intentionally, it doesn't matter. They're mucking around with gain of function. Okay, they're playing with viruses that they're playing God. That
just lift your mic up if you can, Adam.
Yeah, they're playing. Sorry, guys. They're there we go. Sorry, we're still working out the
kinks. You get a drum or something like that.
No, it's the springs.
And you're firing up.
Yeah.
Hit the battle drums.
There you go. No, so what happens is they're you know, they played with gain of function and technology and stuff like that. It's all funded by the US military. Whether it was released by accident or on purpose, it doesn't matter. It's that we made the virus and it got out. And I've watched other shows. I'm going to do a shout out as well to the Y-Files. That's a actually interesting show to watch. It's where nerdy people go. It's where nerds go to have fun. So it's actually a pretty good show.
Sorry, can I do a shout out as well? I forgot to do this. The Light newspaper as well. If you want to help to be a distributor to The Light, head to The Light's website, thelightaustralia.com. And I usually do that at the start of every show. I've actually got a physical one in here tonight. I was going to make a big song and dance about it, but unfortunately I forgot because we moved on to topics very quickly. But speaking of shout outs, please support The Light newspaper. Because look, with a lot of these misinformation, disinformation laws that are coming, soon, you know, physical publications like this may be the only way of getting information out.
Well,
we were handing this out at Darling Harbour at the Tucker Carlson event, and the police tried to stop us.
Well, shockingly, and they can, but they can turn off the internet. Can't turn off a newspaper.
Yep.
You know. Yep.
But you talk about that being released from a lab, whether it was intentional or not. But funnily enough, during this pandemic in Western democracies, you know, they were ushering in certain legislations and things like that under our noses when it comes to misinformation, disinformation, because we were all so distracted by, you know, the big bad COVID. You know, we had no idea what they were doing on a state level and federal level. And then all of a sudden, all these gender ideologies start popping into the educational system, excuse me, as well. So, it makes you wonder, is it by design because is it just coincidence? Like, we will never know. But yeah, so definitely my kids is my main reasoning for getting involved in politics.
What have you learnt so far being involved in politics? Were you always political?
Yes, I've always been interested in politics. You know, I'm a working musician, so I've been doing that since I was like a teenager. And so
what kind of musician are you?
I'm a singer.
Can you sing right now?
Go on, do it.
No,
I'm recovering from a cold.
That was a joke. You don't have to do
Thank
that.
You. I sing every weekend. If you want to see me sing, come to a gig, guys. I sing all over Sydney. Yeah, so now I've lost my point.
What was my question was, have you learned anything?
Have I learned anything? Yes, we're learning every day. What I have learned is that it is a hard slog. It's going to be a long slog to reverse 20 plus years of the left, you know, taking a hold of Western democracy, and especially in this country. I mean, hats off to the Greens. They're probably they're the most successful minor party, you know, in this country. And they've been very successful in pulling Labor more to the left. They were supposed to be a centre party, you know, back in the day. And the Liberal Party is also getting dragged along with it. So that's what our job as, you know, right minor parties, and like that's how we sit in the Libertarian Party. We are trying to pull the Liberal Party back to where they should be.
You said that it's going to be a hard slog, but what I found is, yes, there are things that are incredibly difficult, like getting into Parliament, for example, but there are also things that are incredibly easy, and more easy than you would imagine. And a lot of people out there say, oh, there's no point worrying about politics because you can't change anything anyway. You can change things.
You need to just do something.
You need to get involved.
Exactly. Even like the whole thing with the miners, there's no point voting for miners because, you know, Liberal and Labor are always going to form government, and we've always had this discussion. We had this discussion a bit before.
We were going to avoid that. We weren't going to go there.
Best behavior.
We weren't going there.
We weren't going to go. That's your first warning, by the way.
Hey.
You get 3 warnings, and then Stephen's going to.
Didn't think it'd be so authoritarian on this podcast.
Hey, we're not libertarians, so we don't do that.
The social credit score has gone down into orange.
Oh, damn. No, but the job of minor parties is to remind the majors to do their jobs because they are forming government. And again, most legislation, all legislation has to go through the upper houses, whether it be the Senate or on a state level. And that's where we can, you know, push some influence, blocking legislations and things like that. So there is a place for us in politics.
I like the minor parties because they can.
This is like
what comes across the table.
I can just see like she's just stirring the pot right now. She's like, Stephen.
I am a cooker. Apparently,
I'm gonna get you at some point. This is all just going in the little bank, and
Okay.
I think she's going to rip us apart in a second.
well,
But I was going to say, I think the minor parties are good because when legislation comes across the table,
you too.
But a bill comes across. Look, you know what? Like, politics is hard, and I don't care what party you are. There's no party that's perfect. And what happens is the reason why I like One Nation, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it again, okay? The reason why I like the Libertarian Party as well is because when something comes across the table, it gets put out there, whereas the major parties can hide it.
Of course.
So they can just, what do you call it? They barge it through or whatever they call it.
Ram it through.
Ram it through. So it's kind of like, the last day before they sign off before Christmas. Okay, and then the party will just push something through.
Well, exactly. You said the party, exactly. The Liberal Party. That's the problem we have. We don't have proper opposition in this country anymore between the two majors. They vote, pretty much the same on a lot of the big ticket items.
And as we discussed last week, when they do vote, when they do vote opposite, when they do go into opposition, it's a watered down version, and it's probably for the
it's only when there's an election on.
Mm.
Do you want me to respond, or do you want me to hold it for?
I've got plenty for you. Don't worry.
I'll let you build it up. But you have run in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're running for council. That's your next big push.
Yes.
You've put out this right here. This is on your Instagram page, which I encourage everyone to go and follow.
Yes, I'm new to Instagram.
You're new to Instagram, are you?
Oh, sorry, not Instagram, Twitter. I'm new to Twitter.
Oh, okay.
But I am new to Instagram. I only started these things when I started running.
Yeah, I didn't have any social media, and I wish I didn't have any social media, but unfortunately,
yeah.
You need to do
Well, I've got
it.
a website now, so just follow us on the website. That'd be better. But
Mm-hmm.
you say here, we will take a chainsaw to woke agendas, smart cities, and council rates. So why is running for council important to you?
Because, as we know, corruption starts from the bottom and works its way up. It starts on the local level, and I think, obviously, all levels of government like to waste our money, but councils really like to waste our money on ridiculous things, and that's why we're talking about woke agendas, which the left like to come after us a lot for using that word, woke, and give us the real definition of what woke means. But
give us some examples of some woke agendas that you want to take the chainsaw to.
Okay, so, it's like the virtue signaling stuff mainly. So drag queens reading to kids in libraries. I mean, if you're a parent and you want some guy in drag to read to your kids, that guy can get an ABN, start a small business, start running some little functions himself, and a parent can pay a ticket for that. Why do my rates have to pay for something like that? Okay,
but these kids are not forced to go to these drag queens.
Yes, but that drag queen's going to be paid even if nobody turns up.
But you're a libertarian, isn't it?
See, this is where you try to. No. We believe in small government, lower taxes, lower rates, and we don't need our money wasted on things like that. How about the point of why we're running as a party is we want councils to get back to basics. Collecting rubbish, fixing potholes now and then. There's plenty of those in Southwest Sydney.
If a mother, and I don't agree with this, but if a mother wanted to take their child to a drag queen,
did you not just
reading
listen
a story,
to what I just said?
You don't want the council paying for it.
I don't want the council paying for it.
Because
that's the difference. If a mother wants to take their child to a drag queen to read, you can pay that drag queen some money
so that's
out of your own pocket.
So you've made the clear distinction.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think that's the best anybody's actually ever explained it personally.
What's another example of woke agendas?
So many I can't even wrap my head around it. Okay.
It is prolific. I understand. I mean,
yeah, because you got to be careful how you shape things as well, how you word things. Sorry, excuse me. I am recovering from a cold, guys. So again, these ceremonies for First Nations people. I would also say, councils like to put on ethnic food festivals and things like that. I mean, back in the day, businesses would put on, an Italian festival. Like, for example, Club Marconi, the Italian club out here in Southwest Sydney, puts on Italian Republic Day and things like that. Councils shouldn't have to, cover those costs. They can inspire and encourage communities to do these events. But again, why are ratepayers funding these events? I think it's unnecessary expenditure.
So when you say work agendas and you're going to take a chainsaw to those, that's more just to grab people's attention. What you're really trying to say is roads, rates and rubbish.
Yes.
That's what council should be doing. All these other initiatives, while some people might claim that they're good and they help build the community, it's not the council's responsibility to be spending that money.
You got it.
Well, council does have a little bit of responsibility on recreation as well. So it's kind of roads, rates, rubbish and recreation.
Yeah.
And I guess...
Well, there's the stick to parks, yes.
Yeah, but you could argue the point that recreation for different ethnic community groups could be fall under their criteria. And I just want to make that's okay. I want you to speak, but I want you to make...
You guys fight for a while. I'll just get on the sideline here.
Yeah, I've lost my point now. But yeah, so I said basically, ethnic groups and having abilities, for Eid and Ramadan and all those kind of things. But my thing is, as long as Christianity is included as well.
Well, yeah.
Okay, because we should be celebrating Australia's founding kind of principles.
Christianity is the most ridiculed religion in the Western world right now. But yeah, and that's the thing, exactly. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. For example, I can guarantee you there would be a lot of parents out there that wouldn't want a Catholic priest reading to their kids, being paid by, councils.
Okay, good point.
So any sort of ideology or religion should just stay out of council.
What do they want strippers reading to their kids?
Well, we've got some other examples. Pauline says unisex toilet blocks. So, toilet blocks for all genders and all sexes and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an answer for that.
Okay, go on.
Have a unisex block, but also have a male and female. And if a male walks into a female toilet,
I think
have at it at dad's.
I think the point Pauline's trying to get across is why spend the money on that? We've already got male and female toilet blocks. Why do we need unisex toilet blocks?
Well, I agree, but
and disabled toilets exist as well, which are unisex.
Okay, another reader on Rumble. Our council is big on climate change as well, Gem.
Yes.
Yep. Wasted money.
Yes, exactly. That's another agenda they're trying to push. Even with The Voice, there are councils across the board. And that's the thing too, like Southwest Sydney or Liverpool Council that I'm running for don't have a lot of the LGBT stuff because obviously we are more conservative out here and whatnot. But this is why our party is...
You vote Labor.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean,
that's because they're the
religious, yeah.
Trusted in their old ideology.
Exactly. Like, I mean, more religious, conservative sort of values.
Okay.
Just because they vote Labor, yeah. Okay, yeah, you got me there. Oh. I was talking old school Labor.
Yep.
So obviously we don't have that here. But if someone like me doesn't get on council, that stuff will start creeping in, and we need to push back. And again, it comes down like our whole philosophy and why we're running is that ratepayers shouldn't have to cover these sorts of agendas and ideologies. I mean, like I said, stick to roads, stick to, collecting the garbage, stick to keeping our parks clean,
Well, one example is I heard from someone on the Northern Beaches Council telling me that the CEO of the council, or whatever that highest role is earning over $700,000 a year.
Yeah, that's happening in Liverpool too.
Like, how is that justifiable?
I exactly. And that's another thing too. So, a lot of people are going to run for council and be like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to fix that roundabout. I'm not going to say any of that. I'm going to be like, I'm going to try and cut some costs.
Let
I'm going to try.
Place fall apart.
No, we're going to burn it down. Oh wait, that already happened in Liverpool.
don't say that. Some greenie will use that as a little soundbite. Gemma's plan for council. Burn everything.
It's metaphorically. But yeah, so that's what I'll be running on is like, no, we're not going to do any of that. We're actually going to try and strip back a lot of this and put more money back into your pockets. I mean, we are in a cost of living crisis right now. And, I don't know about you, but I have a heart attack every time I open my electricity bill. And when I open up the rates and then I read the little things and the little fares they're putting on and this, and I'm like, is this necessary? I would rather have that money in my pocket to feed my children. And if I want to go take my kids to some sort of, ethnic fair or whatever, I'm happy to pay then from my pocket.
Okay. People are getting fired up in the chat. Richard put up a point before about what has Richard said? councils ought to have a sole purpose test. If they fail that test, they ought to be personally liable. Well, that's a decent point. Pauline has provided a little bit more background on the toilets. She said they're knocking down our standard toilet block, 4 female, 4 male, and 1 disabled, and building a unisex 2 IDs in the foreshore.
Oh God, what a waste of money.
Some crazy stuff going on there. Libertarian, I wonder who that is.
Oh, I
Adam.
wonder who that is.
I wonder who that is. Adam's answer to the government wasting ratepayer money on the left, virtue signalling, seems to be making it waste money on the right, virtue signalling as well, as to balance things out. No, fund it yourself. So the clear aim is you got it. Council's out of it.
Like I just said, we don't want priests reading to kids, and we don't want drag queens reading to kids. Funded by the ratepayer.
Okay, we've also got.
So what happens if if they open up, say, the library or a community hall, doesn't cost the person who, like a drag queen or a priest or whoever, to read to the community, and they haven't had to fund it, and they haven't had to pay for that area to use all that facility, and then they advertise it on the website. Would that be considered that the ratepayer is funding it as well?
Well, no, but I still think they're pushing an ideology that they don't have to push. Again, their job is just to run our LGAs.
Yeah.
One of the other things you're talking about is smart cities.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful term, smart city. Everyone would want to live in a smart city, but why are you against smart cities?
Well, it's just upping surveillance, and we know where upping surveillance ends up.
What exactly is a smart city?
So a smart city is where they're going to.
I asked this because we've asked members of the New South Wales Parliament about
directly
on the podcast, and they were like, "Huh?"
Yeah, so they're actually starting at council level, so maybe that's why you need to get some councillors in, perhaps.
Yeah, well,
have a look.
This is the point, right?
And don't forget too, right? So I think it's all because we were told that, that's just rubbish, that's just bullshit, you're not going to get any of that kind of stuff, right? That's what we were told, right? And then I've asked councillors as well directly. Oh yeah, no, we can't even afford to get digital signs on our bus stops, let alone getting a smart cities in place. But then you have a look at the state government. State government's pushing to build up areas.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to go higher and they're going to go smaller. Okay. So
they're 15-minute cities.
15. Well, no, but they're not called 15 minutes. So what they're doing is they want to just develop areas near the train station. So there's a few train stations around here. Okay. And we've got plenty of land out southwest Sydney. Okay, and that's what I've brought it up to councillors. I've brought it up just in general. Why not just create, say, a minimum block size land, i.e. I think it should be no less than 500 square meters for a block of land. None of this 290 square meter crap and small roads where you can't even I can't even park my work van across the front of a property without blocking my driveway and somebody else's driveway.
But that's all about making money for the developers, though.
Well, I think it's also about driving people away from wanting to use cars. And it's also driving, you're densifying areas.
Well, let's talking about all that stuff, Adam. This is something that's happened recently with the Liverpool Council. The council backflips on frustrating parking rule after residents complain of $2 million in fines. Now, what this is about, as you can probably see in that image there, you go out to Liverpool and areas like that, the roads are quite narrow. A lot of people park their cars mounted on the curb.
Yep.
So Liverpool Council came in and started fining people to do that. It's been happening for as long as I can remember.
I thought that was the whole reason of having the curb rolled.
Well, isn't it?
You're probably right, actually. Yeah, you are probably right.
If you've got a narrow road, you need to park somewhere.
But you're fining people for doing the right thing and letting traffic flow. Because if you had a car one side and your car.
But that's my point. I think that's the whole point of a rolled curb, is so you can park up on it. Because the road's so narrow. Where are you going to park on? In the sky?
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And now they're fining us.
I've never heard about that. I've never heard that. I've never heard as in.
Well, that's why people watch this podcast.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Just so informative.
That's right. So, how do you feel about that? Is it good that the community have pushed back and forced the council to backflip on this? Yes.
We need more of that, guys. We need more pushback. Definitely. And this is the thing, the term power to the people, it's a legitimate term. It's just the problem we have is that a lot of people get scared or, excuse me. Sorry, guys. They get scared of, the authority. But when it comes to your pocket, or when it comes to your children, people will push back. And I do see that there will be a lot of pushback in our country over the next 5 to 10 years with a lot of this stuff, the wasted money, the, ideologies they're trying to push into our children, especially. There will be pushback because we're seeing that in other countries. We can see it happen in New Zealand recently. The UK have gone the other way, but, the pendulum does swing. But we are seeing that, Canada, most probably, Trudeau is going to be finished soon. So
thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that the Liverpool Council is heavy Labor.
Yes.
So
it's actually there is a balance because our mayor is Liberal.
Yeah, council's
okay.
Liberal.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you appeal? Is it majority Labor?
No, I think it's actually a mix.
Yeah.
There's a couple of independents on there as well. But in saying that, I don't think it necessarily always comes down to the party. It can also come down to the types of people running. So yes, our mayor is Liberal, but he's also his ethnic background is that he's Middle Eastern, and obviously Liverpool has a high Middle Eastern
and
population.
we moved off the smart cities
Yes
pretty quickly. It is a significant issue.
Yes.
Have you seen signs from Liverpool Council that they're moving towards smart cities?
I haven't seen for Liverpool. They're mainly doing it on the coastal councils at the moment. I don't know why. I think they're off the radar or something.
Wasn't Wallandilly Council?
Yeah,
Wallandilly Council is pretty big onto it.
Yeah.
But that's what gets back to my point as well, right? Is what they're saying. So what they do is they're sneaking it in under the table. So well, this is a great idea. We've got a housing crisis, so we're just going to build more units. You know what I mean? We're just going to build up. Okay. And then what happens is, and then all of a sudden the cameras come in, and then all of a sudden, and it's a roll-on effect. The social credit score comes in, digital ID comes in.
And it's all tied into this climate agenda.
And climate agenda is just control agenda. And then there's central banking currency systems, digital ID and things like that.
Yeah.
It's all part and parcel, but it's all getting slipped in through council at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So we do need minor parties, and we do need independents in there, and you need to understand who you're voting for and what their philosophies are, so that you can understand that there is going to be a pushback, or you want make sure there's pushback.
100%.
How would you sell yourself to people that have voted for these minor parties, Liberal and Labor, for a long time?
Major parties.
Yeah. But we saw it you mentioned the UK, right? So they've had a really bad Labor candidate last time, and the Conservatives won in a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Conservatives blew up, and they've been wiped out now. And people's natural reaction is not to look at parties like Reform UK, which some have, but majority went to Labor. Well, actually, no, that's wrong.
It is a problem, though. I know what you're saying.
I know. Okay, I've got that wrong, because what actually did happen is that Labor didn't increase their vote at all.
No.
They held their vote. It's just that the Conservatives went so badly.
Yes.
But my main aim of the question was, here in Australia and in a lot of countries, we have this supposed two-party system where people flip-flop back and forth. What is your pitch to people, voters, ordinary people? What is your pitch to them to say, hey, have a look at Gemma, have a look at the Libertarians,
mm-hmm.
and give us your vote? And let's see what we can do. What's your pitch?
Look, the easiest one-liner you can throw to voters, on polling day or whatever, is keep the majors honest, get some different voices in there, get some different perspectives, that sort of thing. Again, when I ran in the state election, I knew that the sitting member obviously had this seat in a landslide. It was a very hard Labor seat. But I would say to some, mainly conservative, libertarian, classical liberal sort of voters that came through, get a minor right party up, to get that balance of power. You can educate voters, and it's hard to do in that 3 seconds you have on the floor during pre-poll or whatever, or even election day.
We've got a comment here from Graham. Thank you, Graham, for listening again. This all began when political parties infested local councils. Political parties have no business in local government. Ratepayers deserve better representation. Well, you're part of a party.
I am. But the thing is, though, you've got to be in it to win it. And this is the problem. The majors and the Greens are running our councils. So unfortunately, we need to get in that race too. And the difference between us and the Greens, especially in the two majors, is that we are trying to roll it back and get back to the whole grassroots of a council and get back to the basics of what council should be doing.
Would you prefer to see independents only in council?
Look, I don't think it matters at this point. I think, from an ideological point of view, yes, it should be, independent sort of people, as councillors on a local level. But unfortunately, that's not the system we're a part of now. And like I said, we have to make waves and we have to go up against these guys. And I mean, you're doing a great job running as an independent. So good on you, Adam.
Well, I'm not doing a massively great job just yet. I'm trying very hard. But anyone from Campbelltown who's watching, just get in contact with me through this website or through our page or something like that.
Well, that's a good question for you because you're running for council as well, Adam. You're running in Campbelltown, so you guys are not opponents. Thank God.
I was a little bit relieved. I've got to admit.
But you'll likely have a Libertarian candidate oppose you, supposedly. You'd think that way. But
look, it might happen. And if it does happen,
but
I'm good. I bring on the challenge because I like to debate. I like to talk to people and see what and I tell you what, we can help maybe each other out a little bit, like we did through the state and federal elections. I mean,
not this kumbaya garbage.
No, it's not kumbaya, but I don't disagree. I don't completely disagree.
You put forward the case that the Senate should all be independent.
Yes, I was going to say it again.
So why can't? Okay, go for it.
No, I think that the Senate should be independent. I think the major parties and minor parties should form the lower house, and then it goes up to a 4-year term Senate of independents, because what happens is then you can really vote them out. So if the independent promises all these things and they're all of a sudden like say you have an independent up in the Senate who's campaigning against renewable energy.
Got a comment.
Now, wait a minute, and then they vote for. Well, sorry, we're in person now, so it's a bit. So 1 second. And then they vote for.
I'm just trying to keep up with all these comments.
We've got time. We've got time, and then they keep on, and then they keep voting for renewable policy. Then 4 years later, man, they're out without the big budget, without the big money behind them, trying to flag them in
kind of like Mark Latham now.
Yeah. Well.
And Mitty says independent like the Teals, right? No, not the Teals.
Is Mark voting for all of Labor policies? Have you followed it? I haven't followed it for a little while.
No, I don't know.
Tony says Minns, as in Chris Minns, the Premier of New South Wales, repealed the Greater Cities Commission 6 City project. What do you know about that, Gemma?
Actually, don't know anything about that.
Tony would know everything about that. So
that's the 6 cities. That's the 6 cities for smart cities, right?
Yeah.
And he's repealed it.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yes.
Ooh.
But is he still densifying areas? Because he might have repealed it for 6 and then turned it into 12.
You guys are the candidates. You should be telling me.
All I know is that Campbelltown is still working towards densifying. And don't forget too, council's also hamstrung by state government. So
yeah, of course.
So if the councils don't follow what the government in the state want, they get punished. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit their mic.
Well, hey, that was a good sound effect.
They get punished.
Well, the drag queens are an example of that.
The funding gets taken.
Yeah.
So the only example in New South Wales of a Libertarian getting elected is John Ruddock in the upper house of New South Wales. Has he done a good job?
Yes. He's making a lot of noise in there.
It's not a trick question.
No, of course he is. No, he's making a lot of noise. He's putting amendments, towards bills. For example, the conversion therapy bill. We have a petition right now, so everyone should go sign that. Follow me on socials, and I'll link that to you. To get the word gender identity.
What's wrong with banning conversion therapy?
Oh, here we go. Well, define conversion therapy.
Well, I think that's a good question. Is drag queen story time a form of conversion therapy?
No, we're talking about.
No, but is it? And I mean, this is a serious question. I mean, you're getting kids to go to these things to say that drag queens are okay. You're converting them to that way of thinking.
Oh, okay, you're trying to do the flip now. Yeah, no, fair enough. No, so this bill is in relation to, transitioning children, so minors. So anyone under the age of 18, already see some pretty scary laws in, Victoria and Adelaide. I mean, parents can children can transition behind their parents' back in Adelaide. Doctors can sign off on that without parental consent. That didn't happen in this state yet.
Well, the law in Victoria, the way that I understand it, is if you take your child that lives in Victoria to another state to try and convert, do the conversion therapy, you'll be still charged in Victoria.
Yep. So pretty much the problem with this bill or this legislation that they rammed through by making, the upper house argue for hours into the early morning, because this is what they do, tiring people out, some fell asleep, some didn't even turn up to vote, but Ruddock tried to make an amendment that night, didn't go through. So now we're pushing a petition at the moment. But the problem we have with this bill and how it's worded is that, you can go get therapy or counselling or whatever else. But if the psychiatrist or whatever, even a religious leader turns around and says, oh, your kid's not trans or you're not trans, they will be penalised for that because it's not going with the agenda.
And Dr. Con Kavataris, who we've interviewed twice, has done research to say that a lot of these kids are just gay.
Yes. And that's what Ruddock pointed out. It's just like this ideology is trying to wipe out homosexuality and women. Honestly.
Well, they're the ones that cop it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, you can't just be a flamboyant gay guy. You must be trans and, trans women are women apparently.
Well, I even saw a video the other day about a tomboy, and she was saying, hey, it's all right to be a tomboy. It doesn't mean that you're a bloke. It just means that you're a tomboy, and it's perfectly fine to do that and be like that.
There are so many people that say that if they were tomboys, 30 years ago, if they were kids now, they'd probably be, pushed into transition. And to me, the main thing is it's a money-making business. It ties into big pharma, obviously. These hormones cost money and these surgeries cost money, and our government loves to get into bed with, big corporations and
permanent patients. They make their own permanent patients. You have a perfectly healthy person. I just want to define conversion therapy because it's a bit of a sneaky name, don't you think? So
they all are.
But people think that anti-conversion and shocking one.
So the problem with this bill is that it's actually a nothing bill, because at the end of the day, no one is electrocuting people and trying to shock the gay out of them anymore. I mean, that is illegal in our state. Harming another person is already illegal. So this was just another virtue signaling. Oh, look, I'm Chris Minns and I'm a left-wing Labor government and I'm banning conversion therapy. What are you banning, man?
But conversion therapy.
Well, what you're banning is a priest praying over your child.
Well, yeah.
That's what.
Exactly.
But conversion therapy, right? It's not stopping. It's saying that you conversion therapy law is going to be, you can't prevent your child from taking hormone therapy to change, but you can affirm it. You must affirm it. So it's basically conversion approval laws. Because it's anti-conversion therapy. It means that, it means that you can't tell your child or that they're not trans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
exactly.
So you must affirm it, and then we're going to put it into law to affirm it. So I've had my kids. I've got a 3-year-old, almost 4 now.
Yep.
Okay. One day, well, I'm a boy, but she does it to stir me up.
Exactly.
Okay.
My son does the same thing. Right. I'm a girl,
and because we talk about it all the time at home, right? But what I'm saying is, if that's overheard by a leftist, and you say, don't be silly, don't do that, and there's a law in place, that leftist could then report you to the police and say, hey,
let's say crazy leftist. Well, let's give him some slack here.
No, but like an extremist.
An extremist, yes. Okay,
an extremist could say, hey, you've just participated in anti-conversion therapy.
Yeah.
There's a law against that.
Yep.
And now I'm a victim of that now because I'm trans or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go through legal process. Now the judge might throw it out and go away. But if anyone who's ever been through court, it doesn't matter if it's for a speeding fine or for custody of your child. It's actually quite a stressful and expensive experience. So
the process of is the punish.
That's right. And it is a punishment. So I just want to define that, the conversion therapy laws are about affirming a kid's
No, it's about confusing.
What you reckon? Confusing?
About confusing.
Confuses the hell out of me.
Well, it's about confusing it. Like this whole, everything, leftists always bite my head off. Well, there's no agenda. No, there is an agenda. And this is like one thing I do want to state on this podcast is that the left think that.
Hold on, we have to hit the drum first. Boom, boom.
The left think that, social issues and, fighting for trans rights and things like that, that's freedom, these social, issues and it's like, that's freedom. We've got to fight for freedom. In my opinion, real freedom, freedom fighting is fighting for a smaller state, for less government interference in your life. That's a true freedom fighter, because it's all well and good that you're trans, but if you're locked up in your 15-minute cities and can't go anywhere, well, great. At the end of the day, what is freedom to you? And at the end of the day, this is a Western democracy. We all have rights. So I don't understand what rights they're fighting for. Their idea of, my best understanding is their idea of freedom is you will conform to what we say, and then they take away your freedom. But this is it.
For their freedom. Well, they can't have it because I don't give a shit.
But this comes back to what I mean about confusing our kids. If our kids are confused, they become complacent, they become compliant, and they become slaves to the state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they want.
We're getting some really good comments on the chat, so please keep them coming. But we actually have a question from Tony. As council candidates, so this is to both of you, how will you mitigate the Australia Day issue?
But that's not really a council.
Is it council?
Yeah, well,
the council issue.
The councils can decide whether they celebrate Australia Day or not.
Oh, celebrate it. Yeah, I thought you meant like the date change or something.
No, they can't.
Well,
do that.
for me, and this is just off the cuff right now, as long as Australia Day is celebrated on Australia Day, I'll support it. If then the government changes Australia Day, then I'll celebrate it then as well. I won't necessarily vote for the change.
Are you going to cancel Australia Day?
No,
that's
I wouldn't.
The question.
No, I wouldn't cancel. Hell no.
No.
I'll make 2 Australia Days.
Hey, they got Pride Month now. Let's have
Australian month.
Why not?
Why not?
Australia Year.
It should be Australia Day every day. It should be Australia Day every day, because we are, people migrate here for the idea of Australia, and it's being lost.
Here's a question for you, Gemma. How about flying the flags on the town halls? Do you support flying the Aboriginal flag or the rainbow flag or the Torres Strait Islander flag or the state flag? Which flag would you fly?
Oh, well, obviously country and state's a different story. Aboriginal, but rainbow flag's definitely not. And other countries definitely not.
What's the difference between the Aboriginal flag and the rainbow flag?
Oh,
they both represent supposed minorities.
That is true. Look, it's a tough one, and you see, he got me on the spot now.
The easy answer is you just fly the Australian flag.
Fly the Australian flag and the state flag. That's what I agree.
Yes,
I wouldn't even fly the state.
But no, all right, look, I'm proud of New South.
One flag. That's it.
But I'm proud of New South Wales.
Hey, if it was up to us, New South Wales would be a separate country.
But you have there is a state flag. Every state has their flag.
Okay. I don't believe. No, but look,
we're in the state of New South Wales.
I think most people don't even know what the state flags are.
No, they don't. The thousands and thousands of dollars they spent on that Aboriginal flag to go on the Harbour Bridge, though, that was 100%.
$25 million. Yeah.
Well, okay, there you go. Definitely a waste of money. So I'm definitely against that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think every time I drive over the Harbour Bridge, I'm like, it needs to be 2 Australian flags. That's it.
Yep.
We just fly one flag. That's all.
Well, exactly. We we're all under the flag. I mean, I'm a bit controversial where I think perhaps the flag needs to be updated in our country. But
you asked for it now.
Look.
Is this what you think the flag should look like?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Should this be the Australian flag?
I told you not to do it.
Hey. No, because this works in completely well with the Libertarians' new marketing. So we know that being a minor party, you need to raise funds and everything like that.
Yeah.
One Nation does it through selling alcohol. Even though the Libertarians love alcohol, from what I've heard, unfortunately, One Nation has got that market cornered. So the Libertarians have switched, and they've decided they're going to start selling dried fruit and nuts to support their campaigns. And I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about right now.
Are they organic dried fruit and nuts?
I don't know where you're going with this, and I'm a bit afraid.
It's not. Oh, there it is. There we go. So you can now get your very own Libertarian strawberry yogurt and coated sultanas. I might move that over there.
I'm sorry. Is this legit?
Yeah, look at it. Look at the logo. It's the same logo. You can get your own Libertarian almonds and Libertarian sultana.
Oh, don't get me into this, please don't. You're trying to poke the bear. Yeah.
Hey, why not?
Shit. That is brilliant. You know what? Hats off. Just that.
Hey, Adrian says they are GMO free. That's a start.
That's good.
They're Australian at least. Little flag there.
Oh, okay. So we've got a comment here from the Cribbitarian. Gemma is part of the New South Wales division that has not adopted the branding you're promoting. How do you guys expect to govern?
Rob, just so you know, I told him not to bring this logo up. Okay, I said I refuse to speak on this matter. This is an internal party matter.
Oh dear. Okay.
But hats off to you. That was really brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's the first thought that I had.
Maybe I'll take it to the New South Wales AGM now.
I think you should take it to all the just say, hey, you guys realise.
Shit. Wow. Plagiarism much?
First thing I thought of.
There you go. Well, we know that you have a high diet in nuts and sultanas then if you clearly remembered that logo. So
keeps you regular. All right, let's talk about something serious.
Yeah.
Now this is all the news at the moment. I'll just play this clip because you sent it through to me.
Yeah.
It's Anthony Albanese talking about Fatima Payman, who's just left the Labor Party. She's a Labor Party senator for Western Australia, or at least she was.
Mm-hmm.
So let's replay this. Oh, this is going.
I don't think and don't want Australia to go down the road of faith-based political parties, because what that will do is undermine social cohesion. My party has in around the cabinet and ministerial tables people who are Catholic, people who are Uniting Church, people who are Muslim, people who are Jewish. That is the way that we've conducted politics in Australia. And it seems...
Okay, so that's his point. I mean, Labor are terrified about this Fatima Payman starting up a Muslim-based political party, and there's been talk around.
Oh, she's not starting it up.
Well, someone is.
Someone started up. Then they may approach her to run with them. But
what? How do you feel about this? Do you think it's okay to have a faith-based political party?
But we already do have them in the country.
Well, that's a good point, because Kos Samaras did put that up on X. This is the list of them. He's actually done some historical work here. So we had the United Christian Party, that was from 1972 to 83, the Australian Family Movement, 74 to 1999, Christian Democrat Party, One Australia Movement, Family First are on the list there twice because they deregistered for a while, and the Australian Christians Party. So it seems to be okay for Christians to have their own parties, but it's not okay for Muslims?
It's definitely okay for Muslims, and this is the thing. But what are their intentions? You know, it seems like they've just sprung out because of this whole Palestine issue and things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, Labor is terrified that there's another party springing up on the left, trying to, targeting their seats. These Christian parties have been targeting Liberal seats since 1972.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with faith-based parties, obviously, but only if their intention is to obviously shape Australian politics. If they're going into this race, and look, I haven't looked at this party's, or they're not even a registered party yet, so we can't even say that. But, someone was telling me, I was having a discussion with someone today, and they were saying that they do have, policies there, very similar to Labor sort of policies in terms of welfare and things like that, of course. But they've sprung up over this whole Palestine thing, which is an overseas conflict. Is that a reason to run in an Australian party just to stick it to, the Labor Party? I kind of feel like that's a bit, but I'm not going to judge them yet. I haven't read their policy platform properly, so maybe next time we can jump on and.
Well, but how do you feel about Albanese coming out and say we shouldn't have?
Well, that's stupid because we already do. He's only saying that because his party's being targeted.
He's terrified.
He's terrified.
He's going to lose votes.
Terrified of losing the Muslim vote.
He's going to lose the Muslim vote.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, the Liberal Party could come out and say we don't want the Christian Democratic Party or Family First. Because again, why do One Nation, Libertarian and Family First exist? Because we are, talking about things that the Liberal Party have fallen off talking about. And maybe this is what these, this Muslim party feels. They don't feel like they're being properly represented by the Labor Party, and that's why they spring up. But if it's about an overseas conflict and that's all, I'm a bit like, eh.
And that gets to the point of you driving your point of what you were saying before, that the minor parties and other parties drive the major parties back to their beliefs and back to their values and what they first started off with in the start. Yes, but in terms of this conflict, I am a firm believer that Australia should not be involved in overseas conflicts.
No.
Our taxpayer money shouldn't be going over and funding these wars, for two obvious reasons. Number one, that tax money should be for us.
Yep.
We pay taxes to run our country.
Agreed.
And secondly, if you're funding a war, you are ultimately funding death of innocent lives. And as a nation, do we want that blood on our hands for something we have nothing to do with?
No, because we'll have to apologise for it 200 years later and pay for it out the arse forever.
Yeah.
Adrian for Freedom says, Gemma is on the right track. You in New South Wales are lucky you don't have to deal with the Victorian Socialist Party. Well, we do have socialist parties here. We have the Socialist Alliance and a whole bunch of crazy parties.
They just don't get far here.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I saw that. When I went on the campaign trail.
Yeah, there's multiple ones. I mean, I grew up in Greenland. It was you didn't have the chance to vote for any right wing parties. So it was basically Labor, Greens, the Socialist Alliance, and there was some other socialist parties as well. And that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Or the early 2000s.
Yeah, no, so we do have Socialist Party, but luckily the voter base here doesn't really get behind them. So that's the difference between New South Wales and Victoria. You guys are a bit of a socialist state.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on down in Victoria at all. Ben says teals and greens are communists. Well, I wouldn't argue with that so much.
No.
So with her actually resigning, well, did she resign from the Labor Party? I know she was suspended by Labor, and I think she's now resigned.
Mm-hmm.
This is based on her own convictions. She obviously has her beliefs.
Yeah.
Labor Party people are coming out and said, and Bill Shorten came out today. I don't have the clip, unfortunately, but he came out today and said, look, we all accept as members of the Labor Party that we get voted in based off the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And that if we get voted in, then we have to represent that band. And that's why the Labor Party have that rule that if you cross the floor, you're kicked out of the party. Right? That was his argument.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I look at this and I see someone, you don't always have to agree with what someone thinks or their views, but I respect conviction.
Yeah.
And she's standing up for what she believes, right or wrong. And she's willing to almost commit political suicide by doing this, because the easiest thing for her is just to shut her mouth, sit there in the backbench or wherever, and hope to get re-elected in, I don't know if she's got another 3 or 6 years. I think she's got another 5 years. Actually.
Yeah.
So she could sit there for 5 years and hope to get re-elected
With
again.
Lydia Thorpe.
Yeah, Lydia Thorpe's another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
She stood up for her convictions, right?
This is what I don't understand, and maybe you have the answer to this because I actually don't. If you are elected in the Senate under a party and then you resign,
you become an independent.
Why?
Or you can
because you voted in by the people.
They've been voted but they haven't. They're not in the House of Reps. It makes more sense in the lower house because you're representing an electorate. But the upper house, you're representing the state. That is the big electorate. In my opinion, shouldn't the party be replacing?
Yeah, no, because you're voting for a candidate, not the party. You're meant to be voting for elected representatives, not an elected party.
Fair point. Okay, fair enough. Well, to answer your question, though, and this is the problem, especially being in these major parties, her and Lydia Thorpe won't get re-elected.
That is true. And that's why she has to probably find another party and another movement to join to be able to keep involved. But do you think she should be encouraged for what she's done?
Look, I think, the Labor thing, like Labor Party does have, like Bill Shorten commented on it today, and they have that rule: if you don't toe party lines, you're out. Look, no, I say, look, good on her. I mean, I don't agree with what she's doing, but at least she has integrity.
Yeah.
Like anyone that goes against, party lines or whatever and has a conviction. I mean, you saw it with, Rennick did it and Antic does it in the Liberal Party, but obviously they're not as hard as what the Labor Party are with, towing them in. But, I definitely think that, all power to them. Like, they have integrity. And that should be celebrated in this country because a lot of politicians in this country don't.
As a libertarian, and this is really going to put you on the spot now, but as a libertarian, are there certain policies that you would cross the floor on if you were in the parliament?
Yeah. Is that a trick question?
Well, I mean, I guess it goes back to the point. Are we voting for parties or are we voting for elected representatives?
Do you mean going against my party or going against the right wing? Oh, going against the party. Well, no, I mean,
this is the way that I see it, because someone getting elected up in Cape York has vastly different issues than someone being elected in, say, Melbourne or Perth or wherever. And you may represent the same party, but what happens if your issues up there are completely different than someone down south? So say, for example, water, people up north, sorry, it's me again, the Murray-Darling system flows from, Queensland all the way down New South Wales to Victoria. Some people say that the beneficiaries are the Victorians because they end up receiving that water flow coming through, because people in New South Wales and Queensland aren't able to harvest that water as it goes through. So there's vastly different issues in your electorates.
Yeah. I don't think my party would have a problem with me crossing the floor as long as I was crossing the floor for a libertarian, reason. Obviously, like for example, there are something, past, I won't bring up their names, MLCs in this party have voted things that pretty much go against libertarianism ideology. And we have to wear that as a party now. So I think as long as I was true to our ideology, they wouldn't have a problem. No.
If you, I don't want to ask that question. I want to ask it.
No, you would just go. I know.
So my thing is, right, is it the problem, well, is it with libertarians' ideology over people?
That our ideology is for the people.
Yeah, for the people, but it doesn't necessarily always work out well for the people.
Give me an example. You're gonna put me on the spot?
No, I can't do it right now. But I'm just saying, like, okay. So
are you trying to fire me up right now?
Well, no, because like
I'm gonna get attacked from.
I think no, you're not attacked. I think ideology drive. I don't necessarily.
Do you just see this as the same as the Greens? Is that what you're trying to say?
I just don't necessarily agree that privatisation of everything is also in the best interest of the Australian people when we're paying for it. And then you're not paying for it because it's privatised. But it doesn't stop private entities doing what they want with our resources.
Okay, well, remember that the size of the government is relevant, and our main focus as a party is how much freer can we make Australia? How much freer can we make our state? How much more libertarian can we
So the Cribbitarian, I don't know if you want to reveal who the Cribbitarian is. The great thing about the Libertarian Party is that we're actually, I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. I feel like, anyway. The great thing about the Libertarian Party is that we're actually a party of principle, so our candidates will agree on policy issues 90% of the time anyway. The reason, and then he's written something else, the reason Adam thinks that is simple, you're a socialist.
Everyone that doesn't agree with the Cribbitarian is a socialist.
I've been called a socialist before.
Can we have the Cribbitarian on the show?
Yeah, come on, Cribbitarian.
Yeah. Definitely. He will argue, don't worry. He'll always have the
yeah. Bring it on. We want that.
Definitely. The Cribbitarian is one of our,
that's right. Keep him anonymous. It's all right. I like the anonymity.
He's got an answer for everything. Let me put it that way.
That's good.
Well, because if he doesn't, you're just a socialist.
It's fine. It's fine to have an answer for everything, but is he willing to listen?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point.
He can't argue if he doesn't listen.
Well, that's not always true.
Yeah, that is true.
I know certain politicians that will argue and they don't listen because they completely confuse your point. But
yeah, and in their echo chamber.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, this.
We've got to set this up better, Adam.
No, but this is not bad for a first time. We've got to just run through it.
It's much better in person.
I prefer it.
Yeah,
I'm preferring it in person.
Yeah.
Even if it does mean we might do a reduction in episode frequency.
So if people are in Liverpool and they want to vote for you, how is the structure of the council? Is it just one council or are you in wards?
We've got wards.
So they'll have to vote for you in which ward?
The North Ward.
North Ward.
And Victor Tay is running in the South Ward.
Okay, so Victor, tell us about Victor.
Victor. Victor is the reason why I got sucked into the Libertarian Party.
Maybe we should have him on as well.
Yeah, no, Victor's great to speak to talk to. Victor Tay, what do you want to know? So obviously when COVID was happening and I discovered that I am a libertarian, delving into the different minor parties at the time that were speaking up against the majors, I was excited to find out that the Liberal Democrats at the time were running someone in my electorate, Werriwa, and it was the Exercise Your Rights guy, Victor Tay. So my husband and I, got in contact with him and we said, we want to be a part of your campaign team. Like, we want to be on the ground with you, like whatever you want, use us, we're here. And, we got to know him pretty well. And
So you're in the Werriwa
electorate? Yes, electorate for the federal.
Werriwa is fascinating to me because everyone talks about the minor parties bombing out during the federal election. But if you look at Werriwa, if you take the UAP vote, the Libertarian vote, and the One Nation vote, it equals 23%. That is significant.
Yes.
Why do you think that was the case? It was
LGA of concern after COVID, I think. I think a lot of people obviously got, we're always treated like second-class citizens out here with a lot of things, but obviously COVID, we copped it the most. And definitely, I think the COVID era brought up that massive vote.
Now, is that a lesson that you've learnt, that the minor parties, particularly on the right, need to get out of each other's way?
Yeah, well, look, that's what we kind of did in the state election. We worked with Turning Point on that to make sure that we weren't. Unfortunately, it happened in yours where we had two running in the same. But
Adam always cops the.
It's always a fight.
Yeah.
But we
scratch and claw for it.
I only ran, I was the only right minor party that ran in the Macquarie Fields electorate for the state election, and that's what we. We should try and get out of the way, but at the same time, it's just not, unfortunately, possible unless we all get together and speak about it. I know everyone thinks we should join and stuff like that, but that's not going to happen.
Why?
Policy, ideology, a lot of factors, egos.
They're not really the same. Everyone tries to make out it's this kumbaya thing.
It's not, because just because we agreed on COVID, there's a lot of things we don't agree on, and that's and COVID now is over.
Well, it's over.
Over. Not our mental illness. But it would help to get out of the way. But again, does it? I mean, the lower house is the lower house, but it's about it comes down to what you get in the upper house in an election.
If the Liberal Party can get back on track and start representing the voters that it should be representing, would there be any need for the minor parties?
Possibly not. But unfortunately, well, you don't agree. Look, possibly not. But at the end of the day, there's definitely room for minors. I mean, we still need different voices besides the two majors. The majors have gone down. Like, I know you jumped on the Liberal train now.
Hey, I haven't announced that. Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, see.
So here's my question. Here's my question. Right. Like, this is the follow-up, right? So you said possibly not, as in terms of, is there a need for the minor parties if the Liberal Party can get back on?
Well, we wouldn't have a job to do if we weren't keeping them accountable.
But why can't those people, and as we touched on, 23% people voted for minor parties in Werriwa. Those three parties would have had, they all had great candidates. Tony Nikolic, UAP, Adam Book, One Nation, and Victor Tay, Libertarian.
Yep.
So three great candidates, all should be in the Liberal Party probably. Maybe not Tony.
Don't say that. Tony's a good bloke.
Tony's a good bloke, but maybe. They would have all had great members, volunteers, people supporting them. Great members.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be better served within the Liberal Party?
Are they going to be muzzled though?
Well,
this is a problem we have with the majors.
But it's the democracy in the Liberal Party and the whole. I mean, what we've seen recently, we've seen Gerard Rennick lose his pre-selection, Russell Broadbent also, Craig Kelly previously, Bernie Finn down in Victoria. I mean, I've forgotten her name. Who's the girl in Victoria as well?
Moira Deeming?
Moira Deeming. I don't know how I forgot her name. Sorry. Moira Deeming.
I can't believe I remembered it.
They've all, a lot of people have turned away from the Liberal Party. I mean, they're at 11,000 supporters or members nationally, and then it's the lowest point they've been at, right? If everyone's all dispersed out in these minor parties, doing their own little thing, taking votes off each other, shouldn't they all be in the Liberal Party protecting the good people that I just mentioned?
Well, why would we go join a party? Because, like, we've been approached, like some of us have been approached to join the Liberal Party, but why would I go join a party that locked me down, and treated me like a second-class citizen out here? I mean, I'm not going to forgive and forget. It's like a bit of an FU.
But it goes back to the point before. The everyday voter flip-flop between Labor and Liberal. Doesn't matter how bad they are.
That's just poor education, though. I mean, the Greens have done it. The Greens have been successful by stealing Labor votes.
20 years
That's okay. I mean, whatever it takes.
I think it's more authoritarian not to have the minor parties in.
But it's a brand.
That is true.
It's a Liberal brand, especially if you go back to the old "we believe" statement of Robert.
You've got more control over less people, which equals authoritarianism. So what happens is if you have at least more parties to choose from, it's less authoritarian, even though they want a smaller government.
But we know what the consequence of this, it splits the vote. I mean, you only have to look at the Senate, right? The Greens got up a couple of months ago in a protest against Palestine and Israel, what's happening there. 11 of them stood up. 12 if you count Lydia Thorpe. Then you've got Pocock, you've got Lydia Thorpe, not Lydia Thorpe, Jackie Lambie, and the two Jackie Lambie people, all on the left. You look over the other side of the chamber, you've got Pauline Malcolm and Ralph Babette sitting there. 3. And the Greens roughly poll about maybe 10 or so percent.
Yeah.
12%.
About that.
Which is similar to what the right have, but it's all split up against all these minor parties trying to take a little piece here and there. We're just eating our own.
Yeah. Look, you're not wrong.
But
I see something there from the
Liberals
Libertarian.
Libertarian.
I knew this would be going off in the chat. Thank you everyone for for chatting tonight.
Is there someone called Gemma? Or is it? Oh no, that's Graham. See my eyesight.
No, Graham's a very loyal listener. So thank you. Great. I'm not going to be able to keep up with all these comments, unfortunately, but thank you everyone who has been commenting. And maybe I'll go to the most recent first. Tony says, yes, Liberal Party are still muzzling people to this day, even in local government. George Christensen, Craig Kelly, Campbell Newman, Corey Bernani, all exceptional former Liberal Party members. Yeah, but that goes to my point, Tony, that there's not enough good people in there like us defending those people.
Well, if they were so good, those people are good. And if Liberal is so good, why did they muzzle them?
And Mitity says, "Oh my God, there's no vote splitting with preferences." But the problem is that the preference discipline on the right is awful, which
terrible.
Again, but it comes down to education.
Yeah, but you can't. It's very hard to educate.
Voters need to learn how to use our preferential voting system and
right.
get the right effect. Yeah, but we know this, and that they're people still ask me now, how does the preferential system work? Blah blah blah.
Who are your preferences going to?
It's
not our preferences. It's your. I say, are you holding the pen in the booth or am I? And they go, no, I am. Right. So wherever you put your number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's where the preferences go.
Exactly.
The problem is people on the right don't want to be told what to do. So when you say you have to vote this preference, number 2, people want to make up their own mind.
Because you don't say you have to. You don't have to do anything. So it's a play on words. You know what I mean? Like this is our recommendation. If you like our policies and where we want to go, we recommend that this is the line of option that you take to best fulfill, right? Because we might not get the number 1 spot, but this is what we think is the best way to get the result, that your desired result.
Matt Camanzuli, I see something.
Yeah, I'll read that. Ben says, I vote Tax Alliance Party. God knows what the Tax Alliance Party is. Jesus.
They want more tax?
Okay, Cribbitarian says, Matt Camanzuli is still expelled. And if you want to know about Matthew Camanzuli, you can check out my interview with him on Commanding the Narrative. There are dozens of captains pick in every election. Much internal democracy, very wow. Well, look, Matthew Camanzuli, yes, he is expelled, but he still seems to have a lot of power within the Liberal Party as well. So you can't count him out.
He still got expelled.
Yeah, well, he's still there doing a lot of things, apparently. So Ben says Liberals center left, that's why he hates them.
Actually, you got to be Matthew Kamanzuli is really good. Actually, I don't mind Mr. Kamanzuli. And when I was watched that episode,
No, there are good people in the
when I
Liberal
watched
Party.
that episode of Commanding the Narrative, I almost joined the Liberal Party then and there. I mean, he's a good talker.
That's Matthew's
He's
main
really
point.
good.
I mean, you want to talk about Matthew being a good guy. His main point is join the Liberal Party.
Yeah,
and
to
he
get
says
more people in, but then
Liberal
they muzzle
Party-
you anyway.
He says the Liberal Party are the whether you like it or not, the Liberal Party are the only party on the right side of politics that has any chance of being elected. So who do you want to listen to? Do you want to listen to Matthew Kamanzuli or the Libertarian?
No, no, because I do believe that it's more authoritarian not to have. So you're taking away power from more people, okay, and then concentrating it into a smaller group, right? And that I am also against that. Even though I'm not a full libertarian, we've discussed this many times at all your branch meetings and stuff like that. I'm not a full libertarian. I won't say I'm libertarian.
What is a full libertarian?
Oh, I don't know what a full libertarian is yet either. I think the Cribbitarian might be pretty close, right? But what I'm saying is,
can we take someone seriously who calls themselves a Cribbitarian?
Yeah, I can take him seriously. It's all good, or him or her. But I'm just saying, that's trying to keep their person's anonymity. That wasn't actually a dig, just so we're clear on that, because it's hard through the mic. But what I was going to say is, I just think I don't agree in either in huge government. I don't agree with the taxpayer paying ridiculous amounts of tax money. And the confusion is that, the government's paying for it. The government doesn't pay for anything. The government doesn't make any money. It's your money that's being paid to the government in taxes. You get taxed. You get your income tax. You get your rates. You get taxed on tolls. You're getting taxed in. I think lotteries is a tax.
So we'll be taxed on the air we breathe.
Well, that's what they're trying to do with the carbon tax. So come on, guys. Think about it. The government doesn't actually make money, right? The country's not really making money. We're the only ones who are making money, and they're taking it from us.
Richard Storch, who may be the arch enemy of the Cribbitarians, says if the coalition want to prevent Labor forming even minority government in 2025, they need to renegotiate their relationship with the minor parties. How do you guys feel about that comment?
Yeah, well, we should be. I agree.
Well, look at it this way.
Should be putting
Look at it this way. Who does the Labor Party always preference no matter what?
Greens.
Well, Greens. Yeah.
Liberal Party hasn't done that with any of us.
Yeah, but it goes back to Adam's point. The voter has the pen in the hand. Who cares what the Liberal Party tells
Yeah, I know. But I think, working, with us sends a message,
Yep.
to the
I
voter.
agree. Completely agree with you, Gemma.
Yeah, well, the Libertarians are anarchists and One Nation are racists.
Then it's
Oh, well.
no, we're bigots and fascists and everything
That's
else.
I mean, come on, guys.
The Cribbitarian says it's arguably, I don't know why I can't pronounce that word tonight, arguably easier to change the Liberal Party from the outside than the inside.
I actually did have that thought.
Rita says the duopoly needs to end. Australia hasn't benefited from this in the last 50 plus years.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rita.
I mean, these comments.
Well, you can't end a duopoly unless you have minor parties.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know why you guys don't learn from basic. It's basic statistics. Go and look at all the past state elections we've had, the federal elections we've had. I mean, I do
look at statistics.
I just explained the situation in the Senate. I mean, that's a clear example. The preference discipline on the left is generally 80 to 90%, whereas on the right it's around 50% at best. And the Libertarians are the worst.
No comment.
Well,
Richard said he's agreeing with the Cribbitarian. Well, that's one.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's the first. We've got an hour and almost 20 minutes. That's flown by.
That's flown.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Thank you so much.
No, it's our pleasure. I mean, as I said in the beginning, a lot of people have told me about you, and they've all got high praise.
Okay.
So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Do you have anything that you want to express to the audience before we wrap up?
Yes. Vote for minor parties.
Well, here's a good question for you.
The power is in your hands.
Here's a question for you. Now, this is the final segment of the X-Candidates. We do this every time. It's called Build Your Own Fantasy Government. Now, Gemma, you're in control of the next Parliament of Australia, and you can choose 5 or 6 people to head up that next Parliament of Australia. It could be anyone.
If you watch that show,
living or dead, anyone you want. Who would you choose?
5 people.
5 or 6. Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be.
Who-
Just, top
Who
three.
so who do I want like up there?
So if you could build if you can
Okay.
choose who's running the next government of Australia, who do you want running it?
It's like a fantasy band. If you could build the best band of your life.
So many choices. I mean, Robert Menzies is like comes to mind.
A Liberal.
Liberal.
Cough, cough.
The problem with the Liberal Party is they don't follow those bloody
Yeah, but
guy's
exactly.
things.
Robert Menzies is the ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I can't even think right now because we've just had such a shit show of leaders in the last 20 years.
But it doesn't have to be a politician. It could be, a philosopher. Who did we have? We had Mahatma Gandhi last year.
Richard Storch says, Jacinta Price, your role model.
He's given me the role model of Jacinta Price.
Another coalition person.
Yeah, Jacinta's pretty cool. I'll give her that. If I had to pick someone from recent times,
You don't have to.
okay.
Anyone could be, Jesus or.
Well, you know what? He literally, as you said that, I was thinking Jesus Christ. Literally, as you said
I can't believe no one said Jesus Christ before.
Yeah,
someone has.
Have they?
I'll have to go.
that was
through it.
scary. You
maybe
said
Bernie?
Jesus as I was thinking.
I'm gonna have to start doing a tally. I think Malcolm Roberts is top of the list, but
Oh yeah, Malcolm. Everyone always
everyone
says
picks
Malcolm.
Yeah.
He's not at the top of my list.
You don't like Malcolm?
I don't have a problem with Malcolm, but he's not someone necessarily I would
He's quite libertarian.
Interesting.
pick. No.
Interesting.
Honestly, I can't answer this question because no one's coming to mind.
All right, well, here we go. Graham says Nigel Farage has shown how to break the two-party mold, and he was able to do it in a matter of weeks. His
Mhm.
secret, well, I mean, yeah, but he has.
Was
been
he
around
already a
He has been around
politician?
for a while though.
His secret was to listen to the people. Why can't this happen in Australia? Libertarian says you can always just nominate me and JR, which would be John Roddick. I don't know why they didn't spring to mind straight away.
They did spring to mind, but I was actually trying to think of someone a bit like, a bit more va va voom, Of course. Of course, Rob. Of course.
What about Harvey Millet?
You know what? He's yet to prove himself. I
Good.
mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to give him a couple of years.
I don't know why, especially John
He's doing
Roddick.
a good job though. He's starting to kick those,
But
buckets
it's
in.
so dangerous for John Roddick to be able to come out so strongly in support of someone who's untested. I mean, he could blow the whole country up. I mean, I don't think he will. I think he'll be good.
I think he's going to be great. But no, I do like
thank
to
you
see
for
people
saying
test the water a bit longer. Yes,
Yes.
personally myself. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Just like
Yes.
testing the,
The what?
the vaccine. I didn't want to say the word and I said it.
I don't speak. I don't understand what. I mean, this is actually. Is this a name, Tony? Naib Bakuli? Tony, please don't do that. And you know I'm bad with names enough. Gemma, you're going to get kicked out of the Libertarian Party because you've been speaking badly about Millet.
I haven't been speaking badly. I just said give him some time.
This is what happens when people come on this show. They get in trouble. Ben says Australia needs a flat tax to abolish these taxes. Oh, here we go. That's the topic. That's a whole podcast for another time.
My head just hurt listening to that.
What? I just woke up.
Flat taxes.
Flat taxes.
Tony says El
2%
Salvador
management fee.
president. Oh, the El Salvador. Okay, well, we'll have to. Maybe we can reach. Is he still alive, Tony? Maybe we can reach out to him and have him on the podcast one time. Malcolm and One Nation are for big government. Oh, I don't know how they get that part.
I don't know how. Who said that?
And Mitty.
Amity.
Yeah. Libertarian says flat tax of 0%.
I mean, we've spoken to Malcolm Roberts in person. We've interviewed him a few times, and he's been pretty solid on less government.
I think okay. So anyhow, and now it looks like some of these people are having conversations amongst themselves. So it's good. Feels like we're in a Libertarian branch meeting now, but I'm sure it's fascinating. I haven't been to one.
You should come. We have them. Yeah, I'll plug my party one. Is that okay?
Plug it.
Let everyone know.
Okay, so the Libertarian Party are, starting a grassroots movement to, tackle those Greens on the left.
And that's one thing I will congratulate you guys for, because I came from a minor party that did none of that. And, and if anyone tried, the head honchos would cut them off straight away. So the Libertarians
Well, I might be expelled soon, but yeah.
You can come to the Liberal Party.
No, I would form a petition if you got expelled from the Libertarian Party.
So we actually do.
You're not even in the Libertarian Party.
Because I think Gemma's done well because she's got two people either side of her, right, throwing different questions at her, and I think she's given good, honest answers, and it just shows. Attributes to your integrity and what you believe.
Yeah, look, I'm still
says
learning.
the Gemma Party 2024.
Oh yeah, there you go. I've got one supporter.
What logo would you use? Is that like?
It's like a diamond. There you go.
I'm one thinking it's Diamond Dallas Page.
No,
watch wrestling.
The diamond.
But anyway, back to my plug as they try to sidetrack me.
Do the plug. I go to the branch meetings.
Yeah, so we have a branch in the North Shore. We have a branch here in Southwest Sydney. We have a branch in the Inner West, it's like city area. We have a branch on the Mid-North Coast. So branches are springing up everywhere. So we are trying to start a grassroots movement. We're trying to get back to community here in New South Wales, around the country, really. The rest of the states are doing pretty well as well with building branches. So, come along. Adam comes in all the time. We wonder if he's a bit of a spy or what's going on there.
There's no spy. No spy.
No, I know you're genuine. Yeah.
No, I just like to, I do like to listen. I like to keep my finger on the pulse. Unfortunately, there's nothing running, ON-wise out this way.
Yeah, it's about building community.
And look, you know what? Like, I support you guys actually. Like, in different things. I want you to succeed. And if it's not ON or an independent, it might as well be the Libertarians.
Thank you. But that's the thing too. Like, and to come back to your point, if we're building a grassroots movement, we have branches, we have candidates running for local and lower house seats and things like that. That is where we will pick up some speed and momentum. And yes, it did take the Greens 15, 20 years, but it's paying off for them, isn't it?
And Mitty says, when does Gemma get announced as lead Senate New South Wales candidate?
No comment. No, we have a plebiscite in New South Wales, and I'll be running the plebiscite.
Can we be your first interview if that happens?
Sure.
If that happens.
Who is this person?
I think it's Amity.
ENDMITY.
What?
It's okay. No, so New South Wales, we have a plebiscite for that.
Yeah, and Minnie says, which council and ward are you running in? We just said that.
Liverpool North Ward.
Yeah. Adrian says, Gemma, give me a shout out. Adrian's been self-promoting in the chat and it's just lame. So
Adrian is a young kid. I think he's like 20 maybe.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And he's in Victoria.
Okay.
And he is, a very right-wing, libertarian kid amongst a band of socialists down there. And he's running for council, actually. The Victorian council elections, I believe, are also this year.
Yep.
I think it will say young man, not kid.
Young man, okay.
Does he support the Sultana logo?
Well, he's not... Why don't you ask him that?
Okay, well, look, thank you very much for coming on tonight. This has been a pleasure, and I know we challenged you a little bit, but that's good. That's what politics is all about.
That's it, yeah.
Sometimes I do play devil's advocate on purpose, but I think that just adds to your training. Maybe one day you end up on the ABC or something like that, and you have to...
Oh, no, defund the ABC.
Yeah, okay. That's not very libertarian. Or maybe it is. No, it is.
It is. Of course it is. It's funded by taxpayers.
Small government. Yeah, I get it. Okay, very good. All right. So,
I don't think you know what libertarian means. I'm just...
Maybe I don't. Maybe I am a closet libertarian.
Maybe you are.
We've interviewed a lot of libertarians.
They can't answer their...
And that's what I was going to say. Still yet to really nail it.
I have very basic...
And we've had some...
I've asked these questions on the show and I've been disappointed with the responses so far. So, I mean, you've done a good job tonight. I think you made some really good points and don't agree with everything that you said, but that's okay. Fine. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
You're allowed to.
We're allowed to disagree. We don't have to hate each other. Imagine that. We can disagree on politics.
We should all be in the one party.
Dictatorship much?
Yeah, I agree.
It's not. It's just common sense.
Authoritarianism.
Let's not end on a note like this. So thank you for having me.
I hate you now. Okay, well, look, everyone, thank you. If you've really enjoyed what Gemma has said tonight, if you really think she's amazing and a great candidate, and you know anyone living in Liverpool that may vote for her, please share this interview. I say it every week. We do rely on the audience. Subscribe. I mean, the audience have done great tonight in the comments, in the chat. I wish I could have put the link out there for callers in, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
And we rely on our audience to share these interviews out. Please do so. Head to the website, sign up, and stay up to date with all our content. And hopefully, Gemma, we can have you back on in the future. Hopefully, you will be elected to the council, or hopefully, you won't be elected to council and you can run for the Senate instead. But we'll
I can
see.
still run for
Can
the
do
Senate.
both.
Okay,
You can do both. Oh, well,
Yeah.
then why not? Yeah.
No, the major parties do it.
Take 2 bites of the cherry then.
Maybe we can have a libertarian.
You're a very Machiavellian party. I'm not going to reveal the rumors I've heard. But,
Well, maybe you should have a libertarian panel, and we can all
God, I don't think my brain could take it.
it might explode. Yes.
But as we say every week, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
See ya.
Thank you.